My name is François Later. I'm business advisor and team leader in the direct sales department at Odoo. Hope you are enjoying the Odoo experience so far. And the topic of my talk today will be the Odoo methodology, and more specifically, how we are pitching the quick start methodology to our customers. So the talk will be divided in 4 parts. First, I will quickly explain the journey of a business advisor in direct sales at Odoo. Then I will explain the seven golden rules of the quick start methodology. I will finish with a conclusion, and then we will have the Q&A session. Okay. So first, the journey of a business advisor. So the first task we have to do as business advisors is to call the customers to qualify their needs. So basically what we do is try to understand their activity, their business processes, and the reason why they want to either change or have a new business software. Once we deeply analyze those needs, we prepare a custom database in order to make a demonstration to those customers. Once the customer is, thanks to the demonstration, convinced to take Odoo, we make the proposition, negotiate if needed, and close the deal. Okay. From the demonstration, and just after the demonstration, we explain the methodology of implementation that we will use when they will start the project. The client always has the choice either to start with a success pack. So the success pack are the packs of hours during which a consultant will help him implement the solution, or to start without. Of course, we strongly advise to start with the success pack here. So what are the 7 golden rules of the quick start methodology? First of all, we need to select the single point of contact on the client side. On Odoo side, we will have a dedicated consultant that will handle the project from A to Z, the implementation project from A to Z. We ask the same on the client's part. So we want one and only one decision maker on the client side. This decision maker needs, first of all, to have the authority to take decisions. This is really important. To be available also at least 1 day a week. More specific, it would be preferably to have 2 days of availability a week. And he also needs to have a clear understanding of the internal processes of the company. This will allow to optimize the meetings he will have with the customer, with the consultant. Sorry. The goals of the meetings are really to align on the business needs and to define the way we will implement the business needs. Last but not least, the single point of contact will be the one who will train the other users in the company. Okay, so the consultant will be dedicated to train during the whole implementation process. He will train the single point of contact, and this single point of contact will be dedicated to train the other end users. The second rule is to define the project scope. It's really important, first, to have a clear definition on the initial project scope, to be sure that you share the same vision with the customer, so that when needs will evolve, the decision-making process will be way more easier and way more faster too. Then we will divide the project into different phases. This will allow regular production releases and help the end user to take over Odoo smoothly. So the change management will be way more easier when we divide the project into different phases. Then we will really push to adopt standard features as a priority. We will avoid as much as possible to make development, and we can of course do it, but we will first start by implementing and put in production the standard features of Odoo, and then if development is needed, we will do it. Why do we do it afterwards? Because by experience, 60% of the initial development requirements or requests are dropped down after a few weeks of use of the standard of Odoo. Rule number 3, manage expectations. This point is very, very important. First of all, we will align with the project approach. So we will clearly need to, the roles and the responsibilities of both parts will be clearly divided, and the modus operandi will be clearly described too. This is crucial for the implementation, the success of the implementation. Then we will focus on the project success, not on the ideal solution. What does it mean? We will apply the 80-20 rule. So what is the 80-20 rule? We will focus on 80% of the implementation of the needs that have been expressed by the clients. The 20% need that have the lowest benefit cost ratio will be taken out of the project and maybe implemented later on. Okay. Then we will need the specifications and will always be explicit. What does it mean? We will need a complete transparency on the possibilities and the limitations of Odoo. This is very important to avoid problems later on. So all the stakeholders will need to have a clear idea of what can be expected and what can be provided by Odoo in the project. The rule number 4 is an effective communication. Our goal is to have a quick ownership of the tool by the end user. To ensure that, we will put in place some effective communication with 2 principles. First of all, sharing the project management documentation. This will ensure that all the stakeholders have the same level of knowledge. What we use in Odoo is what we call the project organizer. It's a list of different tasks where the priorities are clearly set and where the responsible is also defined. And then we will report the essential information. Okay, good practices. We will put in place good practices to minimize the documentation time. In order to do it, the meeting minutes will be limited to decisions and validations. The project status will be updated only when important milestones are reached, and the training sessions will be regularly organized with the single point of contact. Another very important point is the minimization of the customization. What I mean by customization is very specific development. We will develop only for a good reason, and the main good reason is that the ratio of benefit cost is positive. For example, we will prefer to develop to reduce the time of a daily operation rather than to reduce the time of an operation the client is doing every quarter. The closer the solution is to the standard, the smoother and the more fluid the migration process will be, and then the lower will be the cost of the maintenance of the database. Try to make understand also to the client to replace the solution and not to replicate it. If the client comes to Odoo to change his solution, it's for a good reason. So he will have to adapt to Odoo and not the other way around. Okay. It may be also the moment for the company to review the internal processes. Rule number 6, test and validate the solution. Here again, the role of the consultant will be to deliver a solution corresponding to the defined specification that have been made. The role of the single point of contact will be to test and validate the solution provided by the consultant. If there are gaps between what has been specified by the customer and what has been delivered by the consultant, it is the responsibility of the consultant to make the change. But if there is a gap between what has been specified and what is the operational reality of the company, of the client's company, then the change is the responsibility of the single point of contact. Another thing that is important on the change management, as I said, is the phasing of the project will help and make it easy, the process of covering the gaps. The last point, the last rule we have is to import the right data at the right time. The import of data can be very time consuming, and we will have to set up a real priority so that we can prevent production from happening in time. So don't import anything. What does it mean? You don't have to import all the historical data. If the historical data is for report purpose, then we can delay it. But if the historical data is concern an info that is being processed, for example, an invoice that is an invoice or an ongoing project, then of course the import of data must be done before the production release. So the import, as I said, the import after production launch will be mainly for the historical data that concern that have a concern on the reporting. So to conclude, I will insist on 3 points I discussed during my talk. First of all, push the customer to stay as standard as possible. This is for me the key thing. Then be aligned and to push the customer to stay as standard as possible, you will need to challenge him. Okay, and that is the subject of a talk that will be given by one of my colleagues, Alexander, tomorrow morning. So if you want to assist it, do it, I advise. Then be aligned with the customer during the whole process of the implementation and check every time that you are aligned with him. And the last point, do not overpromise. Okay, it's always better to deliver more than what has been expected. Thank you for your listening. If you have any question, it's the moment to ask it.